Good morning. Today we are talking about courage. I'm Angela Brown and I'm here with the legendary, wise, and wonderful sage Omuugn. And today we're talking about courage. So please help me welcome Omuugn. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing well. We need to do things that are in accordance with the universal laws and foundational principles that we talk about all of the time and not be caught up in just how we feel about things. So, learning to control our emotions and learning other characteristics like patience and tolerance and learning the difference between reaction and proaction.
Mm.
Like when you had your experience where you left your marriage, if you actually told your husband that if this problem recurred, you were going to leave, at that point, you should have actually made preparations for that departure. You don't want to be caught up in the emotion of the moment. You
Mm.
want to have thought through the process, and this is the course that I'm going to follow. It makes us emotionally prepared for that kind of a situation,
It's
especially.
interesting that you bring that up because I learned from that situation. I was very young at the time. I didn't have that skill set to be able to think far enough into the future of if this happens again, here's what I will do next. But what's really interesting is as I aged forward and I was able to get some more common sense and I was able to learn from my previous situations, I have done that exact same thing. And I'm now remarried happily to the new love of my life, and he is the best decision that I've ever made as far as a relationship goes.
If
Mhm.
you're in an abusive situation where your physical well-being is in danger, then sure, you should walk away. But if you're having a struggle with someone, you need to be able to sit down and say, listen, things are not going the way I would like them to go. Let's look at some ways that we could resolve this thing. You bring in communication skills and you begin to get on the same page with the way you see things and understand things. You need to try to solve situations. If you're in a situation where your partner will not communicate with you or be reasonable, or if they won't develop the interpersonal skills to operate within a marriage, then you might have to take a different route. But you should always pursue solving problems rather than just eliminating them. If the problem is something really significant, like a relationship with a child or a teenager, a lot of times we'd like to boot our teenagers out because they become so obnoxious. People go through different stages and they have to mature and develop in a lot of different areas. And sometimes that development is not smooth and seamless. People really struggle in realizing what their own belief system is and how to interact with other
I
people.
want to highlight that moment because I just had a hard time being a teenager. It was really tough for me. But mom at the time was pregnant and she and I just clashed like oil and water. We did not get along. And I did stupid stuff like that teenagers do that is really very demeaning. But I tried to just kind of avoid her, which was my way of coping. And she did one of the most courageous things that I've ever seen a human do. She came to visit me when I was 22 years old. When she arrived, I got in the car and we drove to Virginia. And it was just a long silence drive. And she's a very talkative person, and so am I. And we were just silent. We stopped at a rest stop and she said, "Where are we going?" And I said, "I'm getting off my turf and I'm getting off your turf. We're now in a strange place. What do you want?" And she said, "I want to start all over again." I was like, "What?" She said, "I love you and I want to start all over again. Is that possible?" She said, "Let's make some new ground rules." And I was like, What? Why?" And she said, "Because I love you. I'm your mother." And I was like, "Okay, well, I need a mother." So that fits right into my plans. So we restructured our entire relationship. We wiped the slate clean. All is forgiven in the past. Let's start completely over again. Here are the new ground rules moving forward. And she told me all the things that I had done that hurt her feelings. That we were sitting there at a park bench at a rest stop. And we sat there until the sun went down and we restructured our entire relationship. When we left, we went back to my house and we spent a few days and then she went home. I called her every week after that. And now 33 years later, we've become very close because she had the courage to call me on it and to say, "Hey, you're not acting like a grown up. Cut it out. Start over again. Let's do this right." I didn't know you could do that. I've never seen a relationship that was that far advanced that somebody said, "You know what? I'm flipping the switch and we're starting all over again." I'm so glad she had the courage to do that because it revolutionized my life. I have spent the last 33 years with my mother right by my side. I feel so grateful that she was willing to do that because it was probably one of the most uncomfortable things she's ever done. As we look at courage moving forward, we might look at it from a different perspective and certainly with more of an open mind. So I love the fact that we had this conversation today. For those of you that are just joining us, this is from the Insights and Wisdom of Omuugn. This is volume one of volume two. Both volumes are available now online. Get your copy and join us next week as we unpack more insights and wisdom of Omuugn with Omuugn himself. Thanks so much for joining me today, and we'll see you same time, same place next week.